Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This is going to be very different from a normal type of video. So if you didn't know, we have a brand new official content creator, fellow by the name of Slim Numbers. Hey Slim, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. So I think this is exciting. Whenever we get a content creator, a new one, I'm usually pretty excited. This time more than others because I feel like you bring um, a lot of uniqueness to the Champions game table, and I do think there's room for every content creator for sure, but I do like it especially when people bring their own unique things and concepts and outlooks to it, and I feel like you do that. So I think you're going to be a really great addition to the CC family. I don't think it's just going to be a bunch of the same old thing. You'll have definitely content that's unique to you. You'll certainly do stuff that others of us do as well, like we all do. But you definitely have a chunk of content that is unique to you, and I very much appreciate that. And I actually think it's overdue for you being in the program. Um, I've thought probably for at least 6 months, you would have been my pick to bring somebody in, maybe longer, because I've seen you personally go after it and go after it not with the mentality of I'm just going to do cheap videos that get easy views or stuff. I'm actually put thought into my videos and stuff. So if you guys don't know Slim and know about him, hopefully I'm gonna do an interview with him. He'll have time to talk about some stuff too, but hopefully you'll get a chance to know him. And I'm definitely going to be putting a link to his channel in the description. And you guys should for sure subscribe and check him out. If you like my content, I don't think there's any way you won't like Slim's as well. And I think you should watch us both. So, with that being said, Slim, anything else you want to say before we dive into this interview?
Guys, Merrick's once told me that to not listen to anybody with a YouTube channel. So I think we should take that advice right now. That praise is way, way, way over the top. I certainly appreciate it, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, right? Like, hopefully, what you get from my content, Slim's content, in my mind, is hopefully we make the game a little more accessible, maybe more fun, easier to play, give you a better understanding, and that sort of thing, right? Like, I know for my part, I'm very opinionated, which, by the way, I think a good content creator is opinionated, but I may sound like what I'm saying is fact when in fact it's just my opinion on things. Now, Slim, with his breakdown on numbers and stuff, the numbers are actually factual, but beyond that, he does have a bunch of his own opinions, and sometimes our opinions will not be the same, but I think that's great because you know how somebody can say something or you can watch a movie and you get something completely different from it or read a book and what I take from it isn't what you take from it. It's like that with games, right? We all have our certain styles, the things we like, and it doesn't always make sense or matter why. But what's important is one, you like something, you're passionate about it, and two, give people a reason why your opinion is, and then you can't really be wrong because it's your opinion, you know?
Yeah, no, that actually makes perfect sense. And yeah, I mean, I do tend to focus on kind of the facts of the game. If anybody hasn't seen any of my stuff yet, I'd say that the my biggest claim or the biggest thing that I bring is I focus on game mechanics more so than actual poster builds or card builds or things of that nature. So I break down why the game happens the way it happens instead of what makes a card hit the hardest or makes the card flow the easiest. So a lot of what I do is kind of cut and dry. Like, hey, this card will hit 170 million if you do it this way, and this is why it will do this. So yeah, that is a little bit less open to interpretation because the game is ultimately just a giant spreadsheet in the back with a bunch of wrestlers on top of it. But then I think the opinion comes in and like, what is useful? How is this useful? How can this be used in game? Does this make your in-game experience more enjoyable, less enjoyable? Because everybody plays games differently.
Mm-hmm.
And in these styles of games, everybody's game experience is going to be different because there are no two identical accounts out there. Everybody's account's slightly different in some way, shape, or form, and some of them are vastly
Mm-hmm.
different. So that I've said often that the game that I play is completely different than the game that other people play,
I say it too.
and that will absolutely kind of color your opinion on the game and what you value and what you don't value. And over time, stuff will change. Like the
Yeah.
stuff that I used to change a year and a half, or I used to value year and a half ago, I no longer value quite as high. And that's just change in the meta, change with how the game operates, and my progression as a player.
Yeah, I think that's important too when you say that, right? Like about how your what works for you changes over time. I think that's absolutely true. And that's also a reason why it's good to watch different creators, right? Because uh I might be focused maybe on more of an end game like feud showdown experience, but I try to show you builds for the characters that are realistic. Whereas other people might be focused more on like a earlier mid game, right? For example, like on Mherex, I will never use a sub and I hate them. On my free to play Mherex Redo, I use subs all the time and I wouldn't say I love them, but I find them useful. So
Well, everybody's got to figure out a way to get through to the ultimate end goal is to win matches,
yep,
win CSS matches whenever you can, advance through milestones, get stuff, make your roster better, and rinse and repeat, right?
yep.
If a sub card is what you like, so we got Zombie Month coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should have Zombie Gunther. Zombie Gunther's primary move set, the one that I like the best, is a sub based move set.
Yep.
If that's what's going to work for you, use it. You
Right.
know, just because one version of Mherex doesn't like that particular move set doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. Doesn't mean you should toss that move set out. No, it works. It's slow. It is what it is, but it works. So use it if it works.
Right. Whatever gets the job done for your account at the end of the day is what you got to do, right? Like
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
then you want to build like you're talking about as you progress as a player and as an account, you build into a more efficient version of what you enjoy or what you like. But you never super deviate from that, right? Like so like I've never been attracted to like hitting as hard as I can. So even at a high-end account, I value efficiency and speed and safety more than I do hitting hard. Whereas if you have fun hitting hard, you might be fine being a few seconds slower to hit harder. So that's why it's good to watch different content, see different things, get different ideas, and then borrow, take, steal from other people to find what fits for you. And hopefully, when you guys watch me, you watch Slim, you watch other CCs, you get an idea of how okay, this card will play on my roster or my style. Does it fit what I do? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of space in this game for. One of the things I value about this game so much actually is the creativity
Mm-hmm.
that is allowed, which is kind of how I the origin story of Slim Numbers actually comes from um, the creativity of what I had on my roster. I was like, hey, check it out. Look at this weird little thing that you can do with this weird little card that most people are overlooking. Check this out. And then, you know, so the creativity that the game affords you and allows you is probably one of those things that should, in some way, shape, or form, drive you as a player.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it does for me. Maybe not should. Maybe that's the wrong
In your mind,
terminology.
though,
But this is what drives me.
yeah,
Yeah, it's what drives me for sure.
yeah. It's funny you say that. This will be a good segue to starting the interview with you, actually. But one of the first things, one of the first videos I made is I was not a big spender. I was still very new to the game. And when I started out, I was a very small spender. At that point in my life, we were like dirt poor, so I wasn't spending anything. But what I did do is I could grind. And I was one of the first people to get Wolfpack Sting from the Showdown store because I didn't have a good technician and he was light years better. And I think one of the first videos I did that really got a lot of views for me at that time was my Wolfpack Sting and how I used him. And so like what you're talking about, like being creative and that kind of fueling your content is actually pretty useful and pretty cool. So that actually brings me to the first question I wanted to ask you. Some of these are going to be generic, and then we'll get into maybe some softballs, some fun questions, and then we'll get into some maybe more tougher questions. But what's your favorite card in the game? And you can kind of extrapolate on that if you want. You can do whatever you want with it.
Uh, so I just realized My favorite card in the game is one that I don't think I'm allowed to talk about
No, you can
anymore.
actually, you can 100% talk about it. So what we can't promote
Aha.
like as an official CC, but you can if it's on your account, you can use it in any video you want. But you can't use like the CC account to like use.
Aha.
Yeah, yeah, but we can talk on our channel about anything we want. This isn't sponsored by Scopely, so if anyone from Scopely's listening, here's the middle finger. Mherex says he can talk about his favorite card in the game.
So my
So it's all
favorite
on
card
me.
in the game. Hashtag blame Mherex.
Yeah, I volunteer as tribute,
So
Slim.
my favorite card, and I bring this out anytime. It never fails to garner reaction, and I love it so much. I have a 6-star gold with 5 hollow stars,
Oh my
level
gosh.
350, ultimate strap, tech gold dust, the bizarre one. It is my favorite card. He is unusable.
Okay,
You can't win with him at all.
okay. I was gonna say, like, can you at least win with him?
No, you can't. You can't win with him at all. He's terrible in every single way. There's nothing you can do with it. Um,
Is it
it's
because of like the Shattered Dreams animation, or is there a reason? Why is he your favorite?
because it's absurd. It's ridiculous, right?
Okay.
He was one of the last single star cards on my account, and in my faction we started goofing around with like who could waste the most resources over just ridiculous dumb stuff, and it was funny and we all had a blast doing it. And so I just started skyrocketing gold dust and never filling his stars and never like doing anything with him other than bringing him up, and then every once in a while I'll just drop a screenshot in the chat like, okay, here's update progress on gold dust.
You know,
So
you know what I secretly hope happens to you now. I hope in my heart that at that Gold Dust has one more run in WWE, and he comes in and tags with Cody to end his career, and they win like the tag titles or something, and then Champions releases a new card of him, and at the same time they release the new one, they rework the old ones, and he becomes awesome, and then you won't be able to say he's completely unusable anymore. That'll make my soul happy because I'm terrible like that.
that would actually probably diminish my tech gold dust experience a little bit. If he became
Yep.
usable in any way, shape, or form, and everybody shows up with a 6-star gold tech gold dust, I would have to find another one. I would have to go find somebody, and I have a couple in the back of my head. One of the actually. One of my other favorite cards is Showboat Yoko because it's absolutely insane to me that Yokozuna was a showboat. Um, and my Discord profile picture used to be the little emblem of Yoko. And I would just sneak update my Discord emblem, and he would, the stars would increase. He'd go from 3-star to 4-star, 4-star bronze to 4-star silver, whatever. And like people in the faction would be like, Are you really working on Yoko? I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not working on Yoko at all. And then they made Yoko good, and everybody in the faction was like, hey, Slim, Yoko is usable. And I was like, yeah,
I
I
hate him
know,
now.
and it's no longer any fun.
Yeah. That's I figured you would say that, which is why I totally put that into the universe with Gold Dust, so that when it happens, I get to know that I wrecked your game experience because I'm horrible like that.
Thanks, Mary.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
appreciate that.
Anything else you want to tell me that like you really like in the game, because like, you know, there's not very much of it. I'm happy to throw that out there and ruin that experience for you.
um, no, I hate everything in the game, and how do I reverse engineer this one? Uh, in a more serious answer, I think actually my favorite card may be Showboat Gunther.
Okay.
Um, because he's unique in my eyes, right? He can be set up in a defensive manner, he can be set up in an offensive manner. I run him no hype right now, and I run him as my showdown defensive card. Um, and I over MP him with this blue move, so it's blue double yellow,
Mm-hmm.
so I can always get it loaded. I over MP it so other people's MP down won't affect me unless they're paying attention. And then I also run MP down coaches on him to catch other people off guard if they're not paying attention. And I run him with Showboat McCool as well with no hype. So you're going through your showdown experience right now, and you
Mm-hmm.
see somebody with a no hype defense, and you
Auto
insta
attack.
click,
Yep. You
right?
don't look at
I'm gonna go knock
anything.
this guy out.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I run at a 60% win rate on defense with no hype cards. I love it. He can hit way above his weight class because the protect gems help him out. You can actually run him. I have a modified belt on him that's 150% gem damage, and then
Mm-hmm.
I run armor twos on him,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then a drip yeet combo. Like he's just, it's kind of nuts how I've put this card together, and I don't ever have to think about it because he always wins except for MP reversals or multiplied gem reversals or stuff like that. But you
Yeah.
can do so much different stuff with this one card and use him in so many different game modes and use him um, so effectively for so many things that I really just value that like crazy. And I tend to reach for him all the time just because of that. He's absolutely one of my favorites and probably my favorite in the game.
That's awesome because like so I think I have a similar way I like cards, like something I can use all the time, something that can do multiple things. I really put a high value in versatility, like especially if you have like trainer versatility or trainers that aren't in high demand elsewhere or things you have extra of on your own account, right? Like I think that can be huge for cards. And I like that you go with the sneaky defense because yeah, if I'm showdowning, I for sure won't even look at anyone with hype zero. I'm like, I don't care what they have, right? And then pairing it with McCool is especially great because McCool is actually, I think, one of the most annoying best cards in general. Like defensively, you have to zero her health or she just kicks out every time. If she's set up right, and then the hot tag makes sure that she can kick Gunther out too. Like if somehow, if your gems are down to one or something because you're doing a half defensive build, she can just hot tag kick you out right away, and then Gunther can do his kind of his nonsense, right? And Gunther is one of the very few cards that you could consider running protect gem defensive build and getting wins with too. There's not That's a very small list.
I have done it before in feud. I have run all protect gem increases, so the protect gems soak up.
Mm-hmm.
They soak up something like, if I remember correctly, 36 million damage when they're all combined and on the board. You have to have your gem damage skyrocketed in order to kick out of something like that. Like
Yeah.
absolutely skyrocketed because he's going to hit you with a pretty decent hit, even with the entourage focused on protect gem buffs. He's still going to do a pretty good hit, especially with a drip E combo. So you're not running into the 80% or the 40% kick out buffs usually. You're running into like the 15% kick out buffs. So they have to have Hall of Fame entourage, or they have to have like feud perks, or a combination of everything in order to kick out of it. It's gnarly. He's such a fun card, and in many ways he's a lot deeper than many of the other cards that are in the game. Like, let me look at what I got my account. Like, Ozzy isn't exactly the deepest card
Sure.
that comes to mind. He's traps. Put
Right.
some traps out. You swipe a trap. He's going to break a whole bunch of stuff, and there you go. You're on to the next one. There's not a lot of depth to Ozzy, whereas with Chobo Gunther, I find that there is an insane amount of depth to in just different ideas that you have with him. And again, that kind of goes back to the whole creativity of the
Mm-hmm.
game. You don't have to. For me, I love that type of stuff. You don't have to. You can set up Zombie Punk with like the chemical X plate and a rumble plate and 3-click it and away you go. You don't have to think about it anymore. He's going to do 140 million damage and off to the sunset you go. But you can't really do that much more with him
Right.
that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I would say I'm kind of similar in my favorite one. It's also a showboat, no surprise. It's Sami Zayn, the Great Dudenator,
Mm-hmm.
because you have the option to, especially if you have a Blue Royal Rumble, but even if you don't, you can 2-click with no reversal. You can 3-click If you want to hit harder and you want low charge MP, you can 4-click if you want to hit insanely hard. You can put the bleed in and do like, I think it's like 120 million bleed now if you have all the trainers with the bleed jug. It's crazy. And then just for fun, if you feel like it, you can run triple green leech set, right? And so like you got a guy that can do bleed, that can do leeches and green gems, and then he can also do blue gems with juggernauts and stuff. It's just pretty cool in general. I like versatile cards too, so yeah, I like that pick. That's cool. I like in his case, in your case, it's offense and defensive, which is a rare combo in this game.
Yeah,
So
it really is, and I'm hoping for defense to not really hoping for defense to make a comeback. Um, but it's interesting when you can use it, and it's interesting when it's actually good.
yeah, there was a really short window. Showboat Gable. I did a video on him when I recruited him at 6-star bronze level 1, where I think 6-star silver was the highest at the time. And it was right after Black Friday. Tech Brock had came out. In my level 1, 6-star bronze Gable, I went into Showdown and beat 6-star silver Tech Brock with the Protect gems. And he was my favorite Showboat for like a month before they nerfed it. It was a stealth nerf, and they didn't nerf Gable. What they did is that's why they changed kick out to 80 times boost. It used to be like 20 times boost at full life, and then they bumped it to 80 times. That's what really killed protect gems for the most part. Until like Gunther really, and
So it's
then
all your fault.
well, I don't think it's my. Well, I mean, yeah, let's just blame me. Whatever. Probably. I mean, it probably didn't look good for the chase card to beat the most expensive card, Black Friday card that it came out. That probably didn't look real great. So it might have been that. I don't know. Okay. Next, I'm gonna get hate for that. Next question. And this I think will probably be one you enjoy. Your favorite gem type in the game? Always thinking.
Oh man, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like leech gems, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't. So leech gems will be number one when they come out with entourage abilities that increase the leech gem
Right.
effect, and
Right.
we know that they can do it because they've done it in feuds the last couple of times. So it exists. It's out there. Once they can start manipulating that, leech gems are going to be just they're going to skyrocket. They're going to be OP. I am always a sucker for a good countdown gem build.
Okay.
I don't know what about it in my little brain that really likes the idea of, and I know it's not efficient in feud, but like doing a 5 swipe in a 3 match and you get the countdown gems to pop and then you do something else and you do something else. That's always a lot of fun to me. I really like that. And I tend to like 1 turn countdown gems more than like jug gems, which makes no sense because they're fundamentally the same thing, but whatever. Uh, and then traps, I think, are my third favorite because they're unique. You can make traps do almost anything, and I really like that. Um, yeah, I think those would be my three. With Leech being number one, if they could figure out a way to make an entourage where you can actually get an increased Leech gem effect.
Right on. I actually have said for a long time, even though it's an underwhelming effect most of the time, Leech is my favorite gem type as well, just because I'm a big fan in RPG games. Like I tend to love like Shadow Knight, Death Knight, kind of thing where you take damage while you're dealing damage, and then you heal yourself dealing damage, so you can be tanky, heal yourself. So just in general, that kind of fits that archetype a little more for me. But leech gems often are underwhelming, although there's a few cards that you can run well with leeches at the moment. But yeah, if they ever, I've always thought it was dumb that the leech trainers never made the leeches themselves stronger, and I find that really annoying. And interesting enough, mine mirrors yours kind of because I love Juggernaut gems because they tend to do like multiple funky things with them. Um, so like you might get a jug gem that is doing like bleed and then chucking gems after it and stuff like that, and the fact that they're protected but very similar to countdown gems, so that's funny and not surprising, but because we I think like some of the more people, because I tend to be like super efficient, I think people sometimes assume I don't like interesting or maybe comboed things or stuff like that in the game, but I really actually do. I find that quite fun a lot of times, so very cool. um
I like well. the
Go ahead.
leech thing is I've always and I've always liked the idea of self sustainability,
Mm-hmm.
or just sustainability in general, as a game mechanic. And I know it doesn't really matter in Champions, right? The ability to heal yourself usually doesn't mean anything because you're going to win turn one anyway, or
Well, it
turn
doesn't
two because
today,
of
but
hype or whatever.
who knows about
But the
tomorrow?
idea of sustainability, that's true. And maybe it does become important on down the road. Um, but yeah, sustainability is always a fun mechanic. If you do damage while keeping yourself up, it's just the best of both worlds.
Right? Um, I'm not gonna. Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna comment on the second part of what you said because I'm a child and my humor is infantile. Okay. Moving on. Along a similar vein, what's your favorite mechanic? This could be a move, something, how it works. I figured this would be a good question for you being a numbers guy. What's your favorite mechanic in the game, whether it's like a combo move or just how something works or is put together in the game?
Unblockable damage.
Hmm, love it.
As a concept, and I
Mhm.
know that's almost a cop out answer, but
No, it's great.
Once I started really digging into like what does what and how things operate, I started really valuing stuff that was not necessarily counterable, but stuff that is difficult to deal with. So if that is breaking a trap gem, and every time you break a trap gem, you do 1,000,000 damage. Like, okay, cool. You're going to do 1,000,000 damage just because you broke the trap, and that's going to be
Right.
part of, or could be part of how you set this card up. So that's, triple red, trickster truth, or a funky variation of the 90s Seth Rollins. Both do pretty significant damage per trap
Mhm.
broken, and both of them can be set up to break significant amounts of traps. So that's cool to me. Power gem damage is also the same way. I really like Hall of Fame DDP because you can figure out how to set off his power gems 2 to 3 times a turn, with a little bit of clever gameplay. And that power gem damage doesn't get reduced by anything other than now hype defense. But when I started playing around with it, there was no reduction. You were just going to get smacked with the
Mhm.
power gem damage. So anything that does that type of stuff, countdown gems popping off, damage per X type gems, those moves. So, classically, I always think of Acro, Ghostbuster Cena in that
Mhm.
manner. He
Yeah,
was the
yeah, yeah.
first one that really abused that mechanic.
He
You couldn't do
was.
anything about it. You were just going to just
Take it to
eat
the
all
face,
that
man.
damage and take it. Yeah. So unblockable damage has been my favorite for a long time and continues to be my favorite. My baser instincts really loves move damage,
Sure.
but really it's unblockable damage has to be number one for me, because there's so many different ways of doing it, and in order to maximize it, you usually have to like figure out a way to make it work. Um, yeah, you usually have to figure out some way of doing it, right? Like, again, going back to Hall of Fame DDP, on his power gem build, the way that you make him the most fun and hit the hardest, you have to be a little bit clever and creative about it. Whereas, one click a button and the whole board goes boom is okay. Well, you're just clicking a button. That's nowhere near as interesting to me.
Right.
Yeah, unblockable, I think is mine. What about you?
Uh, actually, same. I've
Oh,
been,
right on.
yeah, yeah. I've been on unblockable kick for a long time. Like as far as like really enjoying it. Part of why I like leech gems is the actual leech damage itself is unblockable. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and really my favorite, um, maybe my possibly competing with Sammy for my favorite card is one I recently got. Actually, just did a video on it. It's Hall of Fame Bradshaw immobile set. Most people like to run them like multiplies and all that jazz, and I'm like, nah, man, I'll take 100 million unblockable damage just fine, thank you. Right? Like that's really cool when because you know exactly what's more consistent than that, right? You don't. There's no variable that you know how hard they're going to hit. So like if you lose with him, it's only because it's your fault. You didn't factor in their trainers or coaches like MP down or how much health they had or something you didn't factor in, right? Like, so that's what I really appreciate about Unblockable. There's really no RNG screw you part to it, right? There's no like, I don't know. It just is. It is what it is, right? Like you know what it's going to do, and I actually really appreciate knowing what something is going to do. So actually, very much the same there. So that's cool. We're actually similar on a lot of this stuff, but that doesn't super surprise me. Because I like you, so it would make sense. Because I like meat. Well, sometimes.
Hey.
All right. Uh, so this is kind of a fun one, maybe a little bit harder. If there's one thing you could add to the game, or one thing you want in the game, what is it?
I want XP trees, please. Um,
Like
I don't know. I don't
specialization?
need. Yeah, specialization, XP trees. I mean, all right, let's just take a random card. I would like to be able to grind with John Cena, Hip Hop Hustler, right?
Like just doing regular
And I,
tours, right? Like hammering it or something?
yeah, just regular tours. You get 1 point per regular tour. You get 2 points for a showdown. You get 3 points for a feud win,
Okay.
or 10 points for a boss battle win. Doesn't matter, but each time you win with him, you gain some sort of card XP, and then you can drop that XP into different things, right? And within the confines of WWE champions, without like completely changing or breaking the game, although this may break the game, you could do things like increase move critical damage chance. You could increase gym dodge. You could increase green gems, or red gems, or blue gems, or purple gems. You could increase your max health. You could increase damage from moves. You could increase the amount of gems that a move generates. And now that the more I'm talking about it, the more I realize it is an absolute change in the entire game, and it would be something completely different than what we understand. But something like that seems like it could be really interesting to put into effect, even though it would be radically different than anything else that we've previously known about the game.
Well, like
Um,
when we were talking about hype coming out, you and I, we talked a little bit in DMs about hype and how we hoped it might lead to something along these lines, right? Because we both love RPGs, we like customization, we want ownership of our character. We don't want them all to be exactly the same. We like a kind of a aspect, one aspect. It would be nice if one aspect in this freaking game was grind instead of just not, where it was just like if there was something you simply could not buy, the only way you could get it would be grinding it, and it was like a badge of honor of actually, okay, I did this, I played, I couldn't buy this, you can't buy this, right? I wouldn't even care if it was some stupid shiny title that just looked different on my own account. It would be nice to have one thing that you can't buy in this game that you have to simply grind for. And so, and plus the customization I'm all in on. So, you take your idea and run with it. I'm behind that 1000%. Scopely, make it happen.
yeah, completely changed the entire landscape of the game that we've been playing for X number of years. Just on a dime, turn it. It'd be fine.
Yeah,
Everybody would be super happy about it.
I mean, most people are gonna hate it, but I'd love it because I get bored really easy. So I'm all for change in the game evolving because otherwise it just gets super stale, in my opinion. I really like
It
that.
would just give me an option to actually figure out a way to build Tech Gold Dust to make
It
him great.
it would, right? I mean, to be fair, Shattered Dreams is a pretty cool animation.
It is. You're not wrong there.
Okay, this is the total softball. Favorite wrestler.
HBK.
Love it. You
No explanation
Nope.
necessary. He is the goat, and belongs on the Rushmore. And if you're wrong, hit me up. You can find me on Discord, and we can have an entire conversation about it. But he is one of the four greatest of all time.
I would not disagree. I have I always tell everyone growing up my favorite was by far HBK, and he didn't really drop off as I got older. My all-time favorite is Mick Foley because I'm crazy and so is he. And number 2 is HBK, but I can admit that HBK is the better like career, I think, of the two, like would be more deserving of the Mount Rushmore, I think, but like those are my two favorites. And HBK is freaking phenomenal from everything he did, like in-ring ability, the styles. Like, how many people that wrestle today or even a decade ago wrestle the way they did because of how HBK wrestled?
I would say probably 85% of them.
Right?
I would say 85% of the talent in ring right now has watched an HBK match and at the very least been like, I could probably take this. I mean, and you have straight up imitators too, right? Dolph Ziggler
Mm-hmm.
was 100% HBK 2.0. He just didn't quite get over like HBK did, but it was the same kind of idea. And I bet if I thought about it real hard, I could find another like like Seth Rollins isn't that far off the mark.
You know, another one that's
Um,
pretty close is like Adam Cole style.
oh yeah, absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. Um, yeah, so HBK's got to be it. Now, if you're asking childhood Slim, young Slim, it's Ultimate Warrior. That guy was cool. I don't know why young Slim thought that guy was cool, but that guy was cool. I now recognize that that guy wasn't that cool, but
Right? Yeah.
young me was like, man, Ultimate Warrior was the bee's knees.
No, you know what's
Um,
funny is the thing I didn't say is my second favorite as a kid was Warrior. I had no idea what he was doing, but I loved it.
yeah, it just Warrior was nuts, and I was all about it. But you know, as you grow up, you like my opinion and the way I watch wrestling has changed the older I get.
Right.
When I was a kid, I think I remember seeing that I saw one of like Surfer Sting's first televised
Mm-hmm.
matches on TBS in when they were showing WCW. It might not even have been WCW at the time. But I know that Sting was very, very young and had not gotten his push yet. I did not care for Ric Flair whatsoever.
I've
I
never
didn't
liked him either.
understand Ric Flair. Now I'm like, oh, I understand Ric Flair. He's also a goat. But when I was a kid, I had no clue why anybody liked him.
Yep.
Um, and you know, I went 20 years of not really having a strong opinion of John Cena other than Lil Cena wins. Now I'm like, man, that John Cena fella's pretty good at what he does.
Yeah, he is. Like, I don't think we ever appreciated him as much as we probably should have during his career and his run and all of that. I agree.
This the stories we tell of John Cena are going to eclipse the
Mm-hmm.
they're going to eclipse what he actually got
Well,
during
he was
his
active.
time.
Yeah, he's gonna. I think
Yeah.
like he's gonna become one of those mythical figures, right? Like post career, he's gonna become greater than he ever was during his career, which is saying something. And also, I just want to throw out there, no matter what else Cena does in his entire life, I want to say nothing is more important than all those make a wishes he granted. That alone is incredible. That's my all time favorite Cena stat. The fact that he's like head and shoulders above anyone else for the amount of wishes granted and what he did in regards to that. With the, I mean, like, some of it's built in, right, to wrestling. They do a lot of make a wish stuff, but just the fact that he did that and he did so much of it, I think is amazing.
He knew. And that's what makes Cena so great is he's immensely self-aware. When he knew he was the face, he was like, okay, cool. I can make it an immense impact just by doing these things. And he did. He made an immense impact. Cena,
Yeah,
we in 15 years, you know, we're sitting here talking about how, you know, there's almost nobody like HBK in the business,
it's
and
gonna
he
be,
belongs
yeah.
on the Rushmore. Cena's not even in that conversation yet. You know, I'd say pound for pound, if you put them side by side, Cena is going to eclipse.
Yeah.
This is going to get me
No.
torch. He's going to eclipse Steve Austin,
No, I
um,
agree.
but it's going to take 10 to 15 years for him to do that.
Yeah.
After he retires and he's gone, he will eclipse Steve Austin and maybe even The Rock as well. But we're not quite ready for that conversation yet. But
You know,
we'll get there. We'll
you know
get
what
there.
you know what's interesting is I feel like post wrestling, Rock is actually diminished a little bit his legacy, if that makes, or to me he has, right? Like, I thought he was way more interesting when he was an all the time wrestler, and the way he comes back and stuff, and just kind of he's too successful. Maybe as he gets farther away from it, I'll soften on that. But I think you're absolutely right. I think Cena 15 years from now It won't even be a conversation, even, which is crazy to think of. Between Cena, Austin, and Rock, I don't think it'll be a conversation. I think most people are just going to be like, yeah, it's Cena.
Yeah, but right now, if you try to have a serious discussion about that, somebody is going to look at you
Like you're
like
an
you're
idiot.
absolutely bonkers. Like,
Right.
what do you mean Cena's better than Austin or Rock? Like, you don't know anything about wrestling. Like, okay, you're right, I don't. But
Right.
like,
So like
come
realistically,
find me in 2040.
right? Like no, realistically though, and this is going to piss people off, but realistically, when Austin was at it, basically Austin after WCW got the neck injury pretty early, right? Anything after the neck injury, this I'm gonna get all kinds of hate for this. Austin was extremely generic in his ring work. It was stomp a mud hole, it was stunner, it was middle fingers, it was that's what it was, and it was exciting. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. Simple is good. Why deviate? But and the Rock is not the all-time greatest ring technician either. Rock was amazing on the freaking mic. That's what Rock was. But Rock, I mean, the people's elbow, it's he makes it because of the theatrics, but that's not a wrestling move, right? I mean, he was like people's elbow, spine buster. You know what I mean? Like a very simple kit. But it was effective. You know, you don't rewrite history. It told the story that it needed to. And then you watch this last run of Cena's, and when he was like, he hits the freaking, I'm gonna get the wrong name, so I'm just gonna call it the Pop Rocks. You know, the on the outside of the ring against Cody, and he's doing like AJ's Styles Clash and just paying homage to a lot of the people he's wrestled with, and over the years, Cena's done a lot of, I think, in ring moves that he doesn't really get credit for. Yes, he played a ton of matches safe, but the fact that you could argue, I think, some of his matches at the close here have been some of the best wrestled matches he's ever done at the age he is. I kind of think he could have actually maybe done a lot more with his in-ring stuff and maybe just didn't because for one reason or another, who knows? Maybe it was his call, maybe it wasn't. But right now it seems like he's calling his stuff and has shot what he wants to do, and he's being like super creative in the ring. Maybe it's taking chances or taking risks or having fun, but it translates for me, man.
Well, I mean, that's essentially the Hogan argument, right? Like, you
Yeah,
have two, regardless of what you think about Hogan.
right.
I don't really necessarily want to get into that discussion, but you have two. There seems to be like one major argument about Hogan, right? Hogan had essentially the five moves of doom and is boring and terrible in the ring. Yeah, but you should see his stuff when he was in Japan and he could
Japan.
do all sorts of things. Yeah, I mean, like that conversation is played out. But we're kind of seeing that exactly what you just said about Cena is the Hogan argument, where it's now being like, yeah, in 2007, John Cena hit a total of 17 moves for the entire year, and now he's opening up the toolkit and doing literally whatever he wants to, and it's awesome.
Right.
Um, I
And
don't know. I'm here for it. The older I
yeah.
get, the more I appreciate John Cena for sure.
Yeah, I agree completely. Boy, that one we got way off, but that's okay. That was a good one. Um I think it's worth it for sure. Because we're, I think just about everybody playing this game is a wrestling fan. I think it's important to know that Slim One is a wrestling fan. He's one of us. One of us. One of us.
Yeah,
And
I'm in
that's
the
kind
cool kids club.
yeah, I mean that's kind of why I asked that question though, right? Like so this is totally off tangent too, but like if you're like I find content creators that I watch, and this is how I try to look at things, because I have no idea how people feel when they watch me. None, right? I'll never know how anyone feels. They might try to tell me, but I try and think about how I feel when I watch other content creators. And if I can like identify or connect with them, I just seem to enjoy their content way more, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think so. This is going to be ridiculous. There are a bunch of YouTube stuff that I watch that is completely independent of everything, right? Everybody does that.
Yep.
And there's some Minecraft YouTube. I don't even play Minecraft that much anymore. I did maybe 10 years ago. There's a couple of them I still watch because their persona and their who they are on screen kind of lines up in the back of my brain of like, this is somebody that I would like to have an adult beverage with,
Right.
or at least what they're coming across on screen is. And I'm going to continue to watch this, even though I am completely way off base of what they're actually making videos about. And I think that's, probably important in well, with all of the creators, all of them.
Right.
As long as you can kind of sit back and be like, yeah, I would either let this person babysit my puppy, or I would like to go have an adult beverage with this person. You should probably subscribe and keep watching.
Right. I agree completely. That's a great take. Which also, this is a perfect segue to my next question. What's your favorite non-champions video game? Are you, and then follow up or aside is, are you a gamer by nature? Like, did you grow up as a gamer, etc.? Just do whatever you want with this question. Have fun with it.
So I think my favorite video game of all time is Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, I
The
love
original
you.
one.
I love you. I love you. I can't tell you how happy I am right now. That makes my list of all-time greatest games. This is your question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that is one of the most fun I've ever had with a video game. It was one of the most unique games I had ever played. Okay, so on the Sega Genesis there was a game called Shining in the Darkness and Shining Force. And there's a Shining Force 2, but it was only released in Japan. Does this answer the question of if I'm a gamer or not?
Yes. Yeah. Did you know?
But
Did you know that the Sega CD, they had Shining Force CD as well on the Sega CD? Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
No, I did not know that. That's dope. I'm gonna have to check that out. Anyway. So you had the tactical RPG thing, and with Shining Force, you could get like secret characters. Like one of them, I think, was called like Yogurt was the guy's name, but it was spelled in the British way, so it was Yojurt or something. Yoghurt is how I always pronounced it as a kid. Anyway, there was that one game, and that was my favorite game, and I never could find another game that was anywhere close to it. And then I was a big Final Fantasy fan. The reason I fell in love with video games is Final Fantasy, the first one for the NES, because it came with a book when I rented it from my local game store or local movie store, and the book came like the big strategy guide, so you could open it up and there was a bestiary to it, and it gave you maps and all this stuff, and I was like, oh my, I was 6.
You
Mherex.
had the
I was
best
6 at the time when I got this.
You had the best video game store ever, by the way. Continue.
Yeah, it was super lucky. So here I am playing this RPG. I'd never played an RPG before. I've got this strategy guide that's right next to me that's giving me all this information. I'm like, this is really cool. So I kept looking for RPG type stuff because, obviously you play Mega Man and you play,
They're okay, but
the first Ninja Turtles, and you play Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers and Mario Brothers 3, and you play Super Mario Brothers 2 and you wonder why it's completely different than Mario Brothers 1 and 3, and it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, and then I found Tactics, and I was like, oh, it's Shining Force, but better because it's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. And then it's just, blew my mind completely apart. And then I found Cloud. Oh my goodness, you could find Cloud in Final Fantasy Tactics. And I was a big Final Fantasy 7 fan. I mean, it was like
so many Easter eggs.
One. Oh yeah, it's so good. And then the Brave Faith mechanic has never really been replicated by anybody, which is super cool. And I mean, it's just so good. It's such a good game, which led into my love of like Disgaea. Disgaea is amazing. And,
great call out.
Advance Wars is awesome. And
did you get into Fire Emblem? I don't think you're as much of a Nintendo guy post this, so I don't know if you did or not.
I played the first Fire Emblem that was released in America, and I lost one of my centaur people, and I couldn't get my centaur person back, and I was mad. I was super mad, so I never played another one. Because it was my favorite guy too. The one that I always sent out. He could tank some damage and kill some people.
If it makes you feel better, I don't like them as much as the other tactics games either.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. So there's that. That's probably my favorite. I've probably, and this is a completely like left turn, and I recognize that it is. The game that I've probably spent the most time with is Forza Motorsport.
No, I can appreciate this.
The simulated racing game for Xbox. I really I dipped my toes in the water of simulated racing with Forza Motorsport 5 And there's grindy elements and there's RPG elements, and then everything else is fine tuning. Like you could create your own car setup and
Sure.
the air pressure in the tires and the springiness of your springs and downforce and blah, transmission gear ratios. Everything was completely customizable, and then you can go race hot laps and figure out if you could, set the fastest time around a lap of a particular course. And for some reason, for so many years, that scratched a particular itch in my brain that was basically the only game I played for years. Was Forza 5, Forza 6, and then a little bit of Forza 7. Um, that's the game I probably have the most time into. I was a part of like dedicated Forza racing leagues, especially on Reddit. I'd find these racing leagues and go race with random people that had rules, like that were, and they had race marshals, and
I have
like
so
it
much.
was.
I have so much to talk about you with. Keep going. I had to get that out.
So there's that. I have played a lot of COD and first person shooters.
Sure.
Where
Did you?
Call of Duty wasn't my first one, it was Halo. I'm a Halo
Of
guy. Well, actually, in
Golden
high
Eye.
school
Golden Eye, right?
on LAN, well, no, in high school on LAN, we used to play Unreal Tournament.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Uh, and then, well, going back to the whole gamer thing, I remember dial up and playing Doom multiplayer with my buddies, and then playing Duke Nukem multiplayer with my buddies. And then, mom and dad would pick up the phone and ruin everything, and they'd yell
Yep.
and scream at me,
Do
"Why
you?
are you turning up the phone line? Well, I'm trying to frag my buddies."
You know what we did at
Um,
my house every Friday night? Like for probably during the summer for sure. It was every Friday night for almost like probably 2 years, at least half of the year. Is we would hook up two Xboxes and two TVs via an Ethernet cable and play 8-player Halo when it came out. Like we would just
oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
and sometimes more than 8 people would show up to our house, and the rule was last place was out, right? And then the next person got to rotate in, and you just keep
Yep.
rotating, and if you finish last, you'd rotate through. Sometimes we get like 15, 20 people over. My parents long suffering, but all about like fragging people in Halo back before the internet was a thing.
Yep.
At least where I lived
You
before it
mentioned
was a thing.
you mentioned GoldenEye. GoldenEye is obviously a
Uh-huh.
staple. And side with GoldenEye, this will be the last one I talk about, because I probably could rant about video
We
games
could do
for
a
a
video
very
for like
long
2 or 3 hours just on games we've played. I can see that easily.
Yeah. But the one that has stuck with me the absolute longest that I have played for the absolute longest is a series of games, and it's Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
I picked it up when it was on the N64 with all my buddies. We'd spend hours playing Super Smash Brothers 64, and then Smash Brothers Melee came out, and we played, I mean, thousands of hours of that game. And then Brawl came out, and we had like a party where we were all going to sit around and play Brawl. Figured out it was a bad game, switched back to Melee within 2 hours.
That's
And then I
hilarious.
grew up for a little bit, but then Smash Brothers Ultimate came out for the Switch, and I've put probably 1,000 hours into that. And one of my friends who I used to play N64 Smash with still plays to this day. So
That's awesome.
every couple days, I call one of my closest friends in the world up, and we sit and we play Smash just like we did in high school, because we both suffer from some form of arrested development, and catch up and talk about lives and families and careers, and the joys of owning stuff, and then I punch him in the face with Fox.
Right. You know what?
It's
You know the great thing about what you just said is it gets less all the time, but for so long there was so much stigma that gamers aren't social, gamers need to get out more and that sort of stuff. But like how many people do you actually as an adult end up talking to like post high school and stuff? It's like people you knew in high school no longer matter really for the most part. If you have one or two friends you still talk to by the time you're 30, that would be a lot, you know? But then you take people that you played games with, and you might a decade later still be talking to them, maybe even playing that game, and if not playing the game, still talking to them. That's the magic of video games, in my opinion.
100%. You know, gaming has always been a form of communication, whether it's
Right.
in real life or you strap on a headset with Halo 3 and you start talking a bunch of smack to people in Halo lobbies
Yeah,
or COD
saying
lobbies,
nice
and
things
you end up
about their mom, right?
and how sweet she is. Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. Um, but I mean, we'll take it back to Champions though. How many people that are
Yep.
watching this video right now have been in the same faction for one, two,
Years.
three, 4 years? How many people do you talk with on a daily or weekly basis that you've
My
met in this game?
my best
You
friend
know,
in Champions, we have been in the same faction for as long as I can remember. If we switch together. Where he goes, I go. Period. Like that's just the way
hmm
it's always been. I talk to him every single day. Other than my wife, I can't say that about another adult.
yeah, and it's from a wrestling gotcha game, right?
Right.
There are people in my faction that I talk to about stuff that is absolutely not game related.
Right.
Um, and my faction leader actually brought up, he was talking about it at one point. He was like, man, exactly what you just said. He's like, I'm in my late 30s. This is my friend group,
Right.
and yeah, that's an absolutely viable thing. And that is a phenomena that maybe only happens in video games because we're kind of used to not seeing anybody
Right.
and not knowing what people look like, but you get to talk to them. You get to understand what they're all about. You know their personalities. Everything else, you have to like join a club and,
Right. It takes way
a
more
book club.
effort.
You go,
Like way
yeah,
more effort. You gotta shower.
you got to go to somebody else's house or like
Right?
a
That's scary.
business or something.
It's nerve wracking. Yeah.
I want to sit in my pajama pants and,
Right?
talk to people that way.
I get warm. I don't want to wear a shirt. I'm not wearing one right now. TMI. Um so a few things. I have to talk about a few things. Did you know tomorrow, 9:30, it releases the remake of Final Fantasy Tactics. You can buy it on PC, so you don't have to emulate it. You can always have it on a
Mm-hmm.
modern whatever. Oh, you knew?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Oh
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. That was number one. One of my all-time favorite video games. It probably makes my personal top 3 ever. I have to ask you, because your name is Slim Numbers, do you like the mathematician class? I don't know. I just assume you do.
When it
Or
comes to
calculator. I'm
the
sorry, I said it wrong. Calculator. My
yeah,
bad.
well, I think in the remake, they call him the arithmetician instead of the calculator.
Okay, I haven't
They
checked it
changed
out
their
yet.
name,
So.
and they changed exactly how the mechanics of the class work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Right on.
No, with tactics and stuff like that, I'm almost always, and I know the mathematician or the calculator is sort of spell based, but I'm always a sucker for just like a good old black mage.
Okay. Oh, so from what I've read, they're finally improving the black mage mechanic so you can actually cast higher level spells, so you're not just casting fire 2, because it took so long to land them you could never hit the enemy. So they're making the
Mm-hmm.
spells cast better, so you should really like that in the remake.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so that was one. I'm glad you know about it. I'm excited about that too. We'll have to talk more about that later. I got so much stuff to say I don't even know where to start. I think I just when Brock did that when he face planted it on Kurt Angle trying to do the shooting stars press.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that
Almost
just
broke his
happened.
neck in half.
Yeah, I think that just happened to me because I had all this stuff I was going to talk about, all these questions to ask. So about your Forza thing, it sounds like you like management style games too, and sim style games.
To a certain extent, I would say yes.
Okay.
That's correct. With Forza, it was more. Actually, it absolutely is. It's management and like trying to put something together that works. And then
Mm-hmm.
the other part of Forza was uh, driving.
Sure.
The aspect of driving was really fun. I'm one of those guys that will get in their car and go drive, back country roads because they're curvy, and
Mm-hmm.
I find that a lot of fun. So, the actual driving part of it, and then like the fine motor control that you need to actually be good at it in Forza was something that was very interesting to me. So Forza was the total package, but building and creating a car and all of its settings and stuff like that was absolutely something that kind of scratched my brain the right way.
Right on.
So like Civilization will do the same thing.
Sure, love Civ. I played it
But
the
the
other
last
night.
Civ I played, I think, was like Civ 4.
No, that's doesn't
Um,
matter. They're always the same. Like they
yeah,
just it changed a little bit, but yeah, the other night I played Civ 6 because I don't know why. I just decided to play it, and then like 4 hours later, I realized I had lost 4 hours of my life, and I thought it'd been like 10
that's the
minutes.
that's the best and worst part about playing Civilization is if you want to lose 12 hours, start a new game.
It might be.
But you're going to lose 12 hours.
It might be the single best. Just one more. I'm just gonna play one more turn game ever because you're just gonna play one more turn, and then one more turn, and then one more turn goes for like 6 hours.
Yep.
And then the sun's coming up and you realize I'm an adult. What did I just do? But yeah, like I have like 221 hours in Motorsport Manager. Like I just like I I kind of am into the Tour de France a little bit. So I got the Tour de France bicycling game, played a bunch of that. Like I'm all over the place with games, but mostly I'm an RPG strategy type guy.
Hmm.
So that's cool. I love hearing that. Not surprised. I'm glad you know about the expansion or the remake, so that's cool. That's definitely something I'm getting and need to play. Maybe I should stream that. Anyway, not related. So I don't know how much time you have. I probably should not talk about games too much. I have plenty of time currently, but I think you might be on a time crunch. I can't
A
remember.
little bit crunched, a little bit, yeah.
Okay. So I won't dive into other games more other than my top would be so Tactics is one of them. I was a gamer like Zelda, Punch Out, that kind of stuff. Final Fantasy VII
Hmm.
turned me into what I would call a hardcore gamer, right? And then I went back and played all kinds of JRPGs,
Hmm.
anything I could get my hands on. And then like I have like milestone type games. So like Final Fantasy VII will always be number one just because I can literally say that's the game that changed how I viewed gaming, right? Even if it's not
Sure.
maybe my favorite still, that'll always be number one for that. Tactics is one of my favorites just because I think, like you said, between story, combat, all the stuff you could do, the secrets you could unlock, like the pacing, it was just, my brain loved it. It was perfect, right? It's maybe one of the most perfect games I've ever played for me. And then,
There's
yeah,
there's an argument to be made that Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the first, and they kind of happened all at the same time. But when our video games art conversations started happening,
mm-hmm,
it was like Ocarina of Time, which is,
yep,
I mean, obviously one of the goats. Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy VII. These start kind of breaking the walls between, hey, is a video game art or can a video game be art? And for the record, I am on the side of absolutely. It's a
yes,
no brainer, but
yep.
I can see the other side of the conversation. But Tactics is absolutely one of the first of. Is this actually just a piece of art that we're allowed to interact with? Uh,
Right?
eh.
It might be. I'm excited for the remake. We all voice acting. I hope they do it justice. Anyway, um, Oblivion. I remember Elder Scrolls Oblivion coming out of the sewer. Of course, the whole opening's narrated by Patrick Stewart. Close shut the
Mhm.
jaws of Oblivion. You know, and you're all into it. I get through the sewers. I walk out the first time, climb up a hill, and look over the hill, and the sun is setting, and I see the town in the distance, and I literally sat there with my mouth open. At that point in my life, I'd never seen anything like that in a game, and it was just like in shock and awe, right? So Oblivion holds a special place in my life, and then the other one I'll talk about is Knights of the Old Republic by BioWare. It's a Star Wars RPG kind of open world esque. Before that was a huge thing, not like to the scale of Oblivion,
Mhm.
but it's really, BioWare was one of the first to really implement in games choices matter, right? And my buddy is over for the weekend, so we start playing. He of course wants to play Max Darkside. This doesn't appeal to me, but whatever. So we're playing Max Darkside for the whole weekend. We're like halfway through the game. He goes home. I keep playing. I enslave the entire Wookiee race, and yeah, and I feel so sick to my stomach, literally sick to my stomach. I turned the game off and started over and had to play Max Lightside. That is the first time I ever remember a game making me dislike myself for questioning like my, or question my morality or choices like that. So that's a turning point game for me as well. So those are just some I'll throw out there and the reasons why.
Knights of the Old Knights of the Old Republic is in my video gaming life is always going to be the one that got away. I never had a chance to play it in its prime,
Oh,
and I've never actually picked it up because at this point in time, I have heard all of the legends of Knights of the
yeah,
Old Republic,
spoilers
and
and
if I play it now, it's not going to live up to
it
the
won't
hype.
it won't. There's no way it
And
could.
it would be like somebody picking up, somebody who's 14, 15 years old right now, hearing that Ocarina of Time is one of the greatest video games of all time and one of the greatest Zeldas of all time, and they love Breath of the Wild and they love Tears of the Kingdom, and they've sunk hundreds of hours into that, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to play Ocarina of Time, and then they play it and they're like,
What?
this is trash. Why do people like that?
Yeah. I think some
So
stuff.
Knights of the Old Republic would be the same way with me.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I'm going to get okay, back to no more softballs here. These are going to be tough, hard-hitting questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
Favorite thing about content creation?
Creativity. I get to do stuff. I actually am in control of what I'm doing. I come up with my own ideas. I present it in the way that I want to. I have been a performer in some way, shape, or fashion since I was like 12 or 13 years old. I play music, and I've played a bunch of different styles of music and a bunch of different. I went to college for music education.
Oh, awesome.
So I've been on stages in front of 60,000 people. I have been on stages in front of 2 people. Various different instruments. I love performing. I love creating. I love making things. So this just kind of lines up, right? I get to make
Yeah.
videos
It
about stuff that I want to make about.
it scratches those itches.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, real quick side question if you can shortly, and I know a lot of people can't. Do you have a favorite group, band, or singer?
The Smashing Pumpkins
Oh,
are. This is one of those conversations that I could
yep.
soak up 8 hours if you really
Yep.
wanted to. The Smashing Pumpkins, specifically "Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness," which is their third album, was a turning point in like legitimately my life.
No, I get it.
Um, Listening to the album, the track one is a solo piano piece. And when I first put that album on, all of my friends were talking about how great the Smashing Pumpkins were. I had really no clue what they were. Track one is a solo piano piece, and I'm like, what in the world are my friends thinking? This is pretty, but like this is what
Weird?
they like. Track two is Tonight Tonight, so
Mm-hmm.
it's acoustic guitar and orchestra, and the guy can't sing, and I'm like, okay, guys, were they messing with me? Are these guys actually going to listen to it? Track three is Jelly Belly, which is some of the most. It is the hardest shift from being super light, pretty, uplifting to in your face, heavy, distorted guitars at an absolute massive up tempo, aggressive flurry that it actually took me aback. I was like, what, wait, what is this? Is this the same artist? And then it was a two CD album. Going through the album, I was like, whoa, people can do crazy stuff with pop music and a guitar. And so many of the songs like plucked at my heartstrings for different reasons, and I was an awkward teenager growing up, and like I just started playing music myself. They inspired me to play guitar, like all this other stuff, and I was like, whoa, okay, music is much bigger than just something that you tune to a radio station and use it as background noise. So the Smashing Pumpkins will always be like the end all be all for my own personal bands because of how much like emotional investment I have into their music at a time where
They impacted your
I
life.
really needed some emotional investment. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really cool. Some people watch me. They may know I met Mrs. Mherex playing Lord of the Rings online. She's a gamer, but when I think of her, I don't associate video games, even though that's where we met. I associate music, right? Because so much of our early time together was spent listening to music, and I hear songs, and they automatically tie me to feelings, places we've been, things we did, where we were at in our life with her. And very few things can do what music can do. It can impact so many things in your life, right? Like it can speak to your heart in a tough situation. You're having a bad day and you want to listen to something that's like, you know, railing against the man. You got that. You know what I mean? Like it's just music can like
Oh yeah.
completely. And the great thing is you don't have to be stuck to a genre. I like can listen. I don't listen to a lot of rap, but there's rap I love. I can't stand country, but there's some country I like. I like
Mm-hmm.
classical, right? Like I sometimes Beethoven, Mozart, I'll love that. I like stuff from like Otis Redding, Dock of the Bay, all the way up to I'll listen to freaking Miley Cyrus. I'll listen to Metallica. You know, I still remember I grew up and didn't have much exposure to music. It was like mostly Beach Boys and stuff, which Beach Boys is awesome. Don't get me wrong, I love Beach Boys. Um,
Oh, God Only Knows is one of the greatest songs ever written.
right. Um, and but I hadn't heard much music, and I think I was like 17 or 18. Didn't really listen to the radio, and my buddy's like, "You have to listen to this song," and it was "Hero of the Day" by Metallica, and I was hooked on music and any kind of music that was good to me from there on out. Music is just music, and good music is good music, and it makes a huge difference. So I love that story, dude. That's awesome. I'm glad I asked that question. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. If you ever, by the way, slight plug, if you ever want to hear me wax about music even more, join me on Twitch. I usually have some music going, and I will often stop whatever it is I'm doing to tell you a story about whatever song is playing,
Dude, that's awesome.
just at random. It is an open invitation to everybody, because I listen to music while I stream, very, very often. And it's always for a reason. It's either I'm feeling nostalgic or I'm feeling adventurous or I'm feeling some kind of way. And I will stop absolutely whatever it is I'm doing and talk about music if something catches me. So if this part of the video is something that you guys like, come find me.
Dude, that's I love it. Hmm, very cool. Just another reason why I like you. This is awesome. Okay. Um yeah, I know this is getting long, so I don't want to take up more of your time. We have so much we could talk about. I knew we had a lot in common, but even more than I thought. Um all right. Was there a moment that you knew you wanted to be an official CC? Like you knew you wanted it. Like was there a time when you're like, "Okay, I want to do this." Or did it just sort of happen? Like
Mm,
like evolve, I mean. Not just sort of happen, but like the feeling evolved. Or was there a point where you're like, "Yeah, I want to try and do this."
yes, actually. Um, there is. So I talked about a lot of when I interacted with the community when I was first kind of starting and first gathering my footing and first trying to figure out what type of videos I wanted to make. The video that kind of kicked this all in the rear end, was my the I've titled it the mostly definitive guide to gym damage. I think that's the first one you saw,
Mm-hmm.
because very shortly after I posted that, I was in your stream and I asked you a question. And you're like, "Oh, you're the spreadsheet guy." I was like, "Yeah, that's me." Um, and so I made a couple more spreadsheet videos, and I probably have a couple more coming. But I was on stream with Lee from Champions Chat, and I don't know how long ago this was. It's been a little while. But we were talking about something, and he goes, "Why don't you have a CC account?" And I was like, "Lee, I have just kind of started. Nobody knows who I am. I'm just doing this because these are things that I like to do. And there's an absolute need for some of the content that I'm making out in the community because I've always looked for these types of videos and I never found them. So I know other people are probably out there looking too." And Lee just off the rip goes, "Well, that's ridiculous. We need to figure out something to do. We need to be like hashtag make Slim official." And I was like, "That's not one of my goals is to be an official CC, but like the fact that you're a CC and you brought it up, maybe I've got something. Maybe there's something here. Um, maybe this is a goal that I should have." Goals are important. If you don't set a goal, you don't really have anywhere that you're going to.
Right.
And my only goal at the time was to make videos that I wanted to find when I was searching for information about the game. and to have another official CC like, hey, you need to be one of us. We need to figure out how to make this happen. That's when it like crystallized in my head. I was like, I need to. This isn't a joke anymore. I need to figure out how to do this. This is cool. I like this.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that too, because like it it's sort of like kind of evolves where it's like at least for me, like I like challenges or trying something new, right? And like I had never
Hmm.
when I started content creation, I'm not artistic like you. Actually, one of the I'm very good at a lot of things. I have no musical talent whatsoever, and it bothers me. I can the problem is I'm not tone deaf, so I can hear every note that I miss when I sing, for example. Like I can hear it all,
Hmm.
uh, but I don't understand the complexity of music very well. My brain doesn't work musically. I love it, appreciate it, but it doesn't. Just like I'm I have a people will say I'm artistic because I do like mod computers and stuff if you've seen any of those, but I can build things really well. I'm good with my hands and building, but I'm not artistic in the sense like I can't draw, I can't paint, like I can't even draw a stick figure. And that's kind of one of my big regrets or but that's stuff that you can't super change, right? Like you either have that talent or
Right.
aptitude or you don't. And I don't have that talent at all, like none of it. And I had never made a video not artistic, and to me it was always when I started I was like I don't even know if this is something I can even remotely do, right? But I'm like I'm just gonna I'm gonna try, and I've told the story about how I got started a bunch, but and being encouraged by like Davey D and people like that, which was another official CC, so it's that happens a
Hmm.
lot it seems like. But like for me, I remember watching a preview, and I remember every build set they showed, other than the generic MP trainer, I had no one on my account. And I was like, this is worthless to me. I have no idea how this card will play if I get it. And it wasn't like a super S tier that's impossible to get. You know what I mean? It was just a regular card. And I'm like, this is really frustrating. I basically know next to nothing about this card. And I thought to myself, I remember thinking to myself, if I ever make videos, I'm not going to do that. And that was, I would say, like one of the initial spots for me where it shaped the like two things. I hate tier lists because and I go off on that all the time because effing Jim the Anvil Neidhart Striker was way up there. Like one of the best I had, and he was super good on the effing tier list, and he was absolute trash. I will argue this to the death. Worst move I ever made. At that, after that, I threw out the tier list and said, you know what? I'm never listening to anyone else. I'll take their advice, but I'm doing research for myself and figuring it out. Those are probably the two biggest things that got me interested in making videos in general, because there wasn't any content for people like me, I felt like. And so that's interesting you say that with numbers and that kind of thing, because like, and I think that's great with content in general. Make content you'd want to watch and you're always going to be good. So I love that. I love that. I think that's the great thought process by you.
Yes.
Great advice.
Well, the genesis for all of that, like the number, I was making content for a while before the definitive gym damage guide,
Mm-hmm.
and I had been, oh man, I had been plugging away for like probably close to 18 months to 2 years on trying to figure out who was going to carry in boss battle. And I remember distinctly sitting down with pencil and paper. The boss battle that was coming up was green gym damage, and I had zombie dom. And I was like, how in the world is this going to work? This should be great. How to make this work? And I couldn't figure out how to predict the damage. And I went to YouTube and I started looking around, and nobody else had any videos about it. And I was like, well, why isn't there anything like this? So I spent a long time trying to put it together and trying to figure it out. And that's how it was like, oh, okay, cool. This is the genesis of it. I was trying to solve a problem. I couldn't really find the information out there to solve that problem. So I was the change I wanted to be in the world. Yeah, that's how it works, man. Sometimes you just look and be like, all right, what's missing? What could help? What do I want to see that could help? All right, it's not out there. Let's go create it. Let's figure it out.
And this is why people should watch more than one content creator.
Yes, 100%. Because I went through, I have gone through, I have watched more WWE champions content than I probably even really want to conceptualize. I've
Mm-hmm.
watched a lot of videos, but everybody's got something to say.
Hmm.
And everybody's got some information in there that's different than everybody else.
Right.
Everybody's got their own flavor. You're going to pick if you watch one video about one card. Let's pick Hall of Fame Lex Luger
Sure.
because he's on my screen, and you go to everybody who's made a video on Hall of Fame Lex Luger. Somebody is going to put up a different viewpoint or something individual and unique in that video than the other creators that have made videos on this guy are going to do. And by watching all 6 of them or all 7, and I'm not suggesting you watch 6 or 7 different preview
Right.
videos of Hall of Fame likes. That's not what I'm saying. But if you do, you will find 6 different ways of looking at it. You'll see 6 different viewpoints. You will pick up more knowledge that way
Yes,
than
that's
just
the
by
important part.
sticking with one person.
I
Which
will. I was just gonna say,
you're already subbed to Mherex. Watch Mherex, consume all of his content. I'm not saying don't do that, but
right.
but you're going to get a much deeper and broader understanding of everything the more curious you are about everything, really, but the game in this specific setup.
So I'm gonna tie that back to sort of what we talked about earlier too. Like the whole thing is, right? Like you mentioned every account is different. That is number one, right? Everyone's goals in the game are different. Everyone's play
Mm-hmm.
style is different. Especially if it's a game I don't have an insane knowledge base on. So like for example, we both dabble in Raid Shadow Legends, right? I will watch a video on a champion in Raid Shadow Legends and I will watch it from at least 4 or 5 different creators because I know none of them have an account that's similar to me. And I know if I watch all of the videos, I will have more information to try and extrapolate what that card means to me, right? So the same way you could do that in champions potentially, if people are showing you what they're running for setups and things like that, then you can make an informed decision. You can gain knowledge, and no one knows your account as well as you do, right? So you can let official content creators, and please do because it's job security. It's not a job, we don't get paid, but it's view security, um, right? So please do, but at the end of the day, be responsible for your account. And like I can, myself and Slim, we can give you shortcuts or ideas or that kind of thing, but then take that and extrapolate it out to your own account, because then you'll make the best decisions for your roster, right? Well, Merrick says this guy's the best, but I don't have any of the stuff to run him, so he's definitely not the best on your account, right? Or Merrick said this is a top 3 feuder, but I don't have any of the stuff for him. So on your account, it's not a top 3 feuder. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And so the most effective way of doing that, because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The most effective way of doing that, though, is ask yourself why.
Right.
Right. Why? Okay. So Merrick likes this card. Why does he like this card? Why is he using this entourage? Why is he valuing this over this? Why is he valuing this moveset over this moveset? Why is he
Yes.
recommending this? Um, and constantly ask yourself why for all of these things. Why is he putting gems here? Why is he using this move? And the more you ask yourself why and try to answer that question for yourself, the more understanding about the game in general you're going to get. So you don't have to
Agree
watch somebody's
completely.
move. You don't have to watch somebody's like Cliff's Notes version of how to set up a card and then like, okay, great. So I'm going to put Striker Naomi. I'm going to run this move set. I'm going to use this entourage. I'm going to use this play. It's cool. I'm off to the races. Bye.
Yeah, see,
Uh,
that bothers me that people are like, "What trainer should I use?" If you played the and it, I'm gonna go a little tangent here. If you've played this game for 6 years and you don't know what trainers you should use, that's kind of a problem, right? What does the card do? Does it do gem damage? Then use gem damage trainers at least, right? Like you should be able to get in the ballpark. If you have a base understanding of the game. Hopefully, I'm not offending anyone here, but like, so you have a character. It does green multiply gem damage. The best trainers are going to be multiply and green gems. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? Like, and now as far as fine tuning it, Mosh might be better than Sherry. Leo might be better than a zombie. A zombie might be better than Leo. I'm not talking about that, right? But like, if it does gem damage, you shouldn't ask myself or Slim, should I use a move damage drop? There are a few cases where people can do funky builds, like you were talking about Gunther, right? And those are few and far between, but 99% of the stuff, if you don't know why, Do what just Slim said. You should get a ask why, and you should have an idea why, because then everything you're watching will make way more sense, right? A lot of times I might not use the best trainer because I decide to use a more accessible one because I want people to be able to identify with the build and know that, hey, okay, I can use Hall of Fame Molly here, but you might get 10% less gem damage, but you get more hit points and you have an accessible trainer to everyone. That might not be the route you want to go. So you're completely right. Agree completely.
Yeah, and that's not, that isn't to say, if I was to interject in there a little bit, that's not to say that it's a blanket thing,
Correct.
right? I fully understand not understanding exactly that a gem damage entourage coach doesn't actually change the leech gem effect, because Scopely is terrible at explaining that,
That's fair.
right?
That's a different question. Yes.
Like, or a countdown gem damage entourage doesn't change the
The
damage to the
countdown
countdown
gem
gem
damage.
damage when it pops,
Yeah, so
right? Like,
dumb.
so, there are some questions out there that I understand
Well,
completely.
yes,
But
agreed.
yeah, if you got somebody whose entire thing is painting the board with black gems, yeah, use a black gem damage coach. You'll be
Right?
fine.
A little common sense, guys. Yeah. If they're doing gem damage, use a Fury strap and Fury metals. If they're doing move damage, use a move damage one and takedowns. If they, it's double down.
Yeah, if it's a double MP coach, put an affiliation strap on it.
Right. That's the no-brainer. If it's a trainer you use, my favorite question is, who should I put an affiliation strap? You know what? My first thing I say to them is, there anybody during feud that you try to put on multiple people and can't? And if they say yes, then I say that's who you put it on. If they say no, then they don't need it. It's pretty easy. Wait till you need them and then throw it on. Your game will tell you, because your account's different than mine. Okay, two more questions left. I don't think either of these are too hard. You ready? Actually, they are
Let's
hard.
go.
I lied. I saved the hardest two for last, probably.
Okay.
Uh, what's the thing you're most excited about becoming an official CC?
I don't know.
That's fair.
And I mean that
No,
sincerely.
no,
I
that's fair.
don't know. Um, I know I'm going to get access to a CC account.
Yep.
That's going to be fun for maybe 2 weeks. And I
Yes,
recognize that about me. Once I get everything, it is going to fundamentally change how I view this game.
it
And
will.
it's going to fundamentally change how I play this game,
It will.
because in one section I'll have my account that I've had for years, that I know intimately inside and outside. I know what I can do, what I can't do, what I'm missing, what I got, what I don't got. And then I can go home, go into my computer, and I've got everything.
Yep.
That's going to be cool for about 2 weeks, and then it's going to really kind of affect me. So I'm not sure if that's something I'm really. I don't know, man. I
No,
don't
that's
know.
fair.
Let's be real clear here. In many ways, I'm kind of terrified.
That actually, so that brings me into my next question. Actually, what's the thing you're most nervous about being a CC?
Being a CC, the fact that my name is yellow in the official Discord instead of just the regular old blue or gray like everybody else is nerve wracking. Like, what do I say? Can I joke? I'm pretty off the cuff and ridiculous sometimes. Can I not do that anymore because I've got a different colored name? Like, what? Oh no!
have you
The
have
things that
have
I
you heard
say are,
me have you heard me talk at all, Slim?
yeah.
You're probably gonna be okay. I think, as long as you're not um saying something like completely with moral issues, I think you're fine, right? Like, I mean, like, I say all kinds of stupid stuff, right? Like, I will debate, you know me, I get like on, and I'm also the world's worst typer. So I less Discord is better for me. I do communicate so much better verbally. If you see me type, you think I'm like the dumbest person on the planet. Like, this kid types like a second grader. It's true. It's embarrassing, and it's true. I do. I do much better talking and verbalizing this way. But nah, that way. So the here's the thing, right? Like, um, I'm sure you by this point have read the what do they call that? The thing, the NDA.
The
There we go.
bylaws,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. Yeah.
And basically, long and the short of it is, you can say whatever you want as long as it's not like offensive and it's your opinion. and it's not like inflammatory, right? So like if I think a card sucks, I say it sucks, right? And if it's good, I say it's good. If it's somewhere in between, I say it's good. You always get my opinion. And as far as joking and stuff, I think you're fine, as long as you're not deliberately trying to be mean spirited, right? So I mean, not it is different because it took me a long time to learn, and I still learn, and it bothers me, right? We have a small game. People think I'm like people come in my faction all the time when they join our faction. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in the same faction as Mherex," and I'm like, "Dude, I am such a regular player. We play Candy Crush Wrestling. You might think I'm a huge YouTuber. I have 8,000 subscribers. My kid has 125,000 and reminds me how lame I am all the time. A big fish in WWE Champions is a small fish everywhere else. So for people listening, just realize I'm a regular guy. Slim's a regular guy. We both like the game. Pretty sure we both love it. And when people like, it's so weird when people they start to treat you a little different. That's kind of hard to get used to because I'm just a normal dude. You're just a normal dude. That doesn't change. So I don't think you need to be too nervous about it. And for the most part, unless you do something blatantly horrible, you can mess up a lot and there's a lot of leeway. I'm by no means even remotely perfect. I can get really ornery when I'm on a kick or tangent about something. I've probably been more critical about Scopely than anyone ever. Like I've ranted about them multiple times. I mean, Gerson used to a lot too, and he became a Scopely employee, so they can't care that much. As long as it's like honest and your opinion, you're always going to be fine. Like just give a reason for it and you're good. Um yeah, I don't know, but keep going if there's anything else. It is I was so nervous too, just FYI. I thought I was going to screw everything up.
Yes, it's more of like, I don't know. It's more of, now it's anticipation and an expectation to perform, an expectation to create and be decent at it.
Hmm. Okay.
Up until literally 2 days ago, I was a dude who still, I'm pretty sure the large majority of the community hasn't even heard of. This will be the largest platform that I've gotten to this point so far. Is whenever you post this video.
I'll probably post it today
um,
actually. I post stuff pretty quick.
yeah, so that 8,000 subscribers is about the largest I'll have. The one previous to that was Champions Chat, in their base, and there's some overlap there, but I still feel like I'm a relative unknown, and now I'm kind of not going to be anymore, and that's a little weird. Um,
I get
but I
that.
think those are all like healthy
Mhm.
things to think about. I think it's healthy to be a little nervous. It's healthy to have a little bit of pressure to perform. It's healthy to have a little bit of insecurity about saying the right and wrong things,
Yes.
because at least at the very beginning, that's going to be able to provide me with some sort of compass, right? Whereas, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to think about what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to go do this thing. And as long as I keep those in the back of my head, I'm probably going to be okay. I'm going to screw a whole bunch of stuff up. I'm not very good at things. So,
Can
but
relate.
so the fact I'm going to screw things up and I know it, somebody's going to come, they're going to check me and be like, "Hey, Slam, you screwed up." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'll just add that to a
Yeah.
list of things not to do in the future, and we're just going to continue to grow and keep going."
The backseat
Um,
gaming will be insane. So just prepare yourself for that if you're not already. If you don't play in a way somebody thinks is right, don't worry, they'll let you know.
I'm, I'm sure I'm that guy. I've done that to so many people. I'm so, I think I've done it to you.
I, I, it's easily done. Like I can't tell you how many times are like people are like, Mherex, why didn't you do this? You would have hit harder, and I'd be like, yes, and it would have taken longer, and I didn't need to, and with everything else in the game, why would I? Blah blah blah. And they're like, hit harder, and I'm just like a face palm. Um, no, it's so it was so long ago. I don't at this point. I don't even really remember. You know what I mean? I can tell you what I do remember. And for those watching this, please do me a favor. I won't even say do Slim a favor. Do me a favor. If you're watching Slim on anything, don't ever be like, Mherex did this. That is the freaking rudest thing you can say to another content creator. Mherex did this. Why are you doing this? Like, don't do that. Like, who cares what Mherex did when you're watching Slim? Just be like, instead of that, be like, hey, why'd you do it this way, Slim? He probably has a reason, and his reason is probably different than mine, right? So, like, like just some, and then like as far as you go, I do remember there was one point where I got in a on my Discord server, which I don't have anymore because it was there's benefits to having your own Discord server, do what you want there, but just know it can be a lot of work to maintain if it gets bigger. I had a very
Mhm.
public disagreement about something with a faction mate on my Discord server. He actually ended up leaving the faction because of it, and I had no idea why. He's like, "You embarrassed me publicly." And I'm like, "Dude, what are you talking about? I argue about stuff with everybody, every build, all the time." He's like, "No, you don't understand. You embarrassed me publicly." I'm like, "No, you're right. I don't understand. I just like you." He's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Everybody or most of the people in there like look up to you or have you at a different position, which I don't agree is right or okay, right?" There, and he's like, "Your opinion matters more than mine. You don't understand what you did." And I'm like, "You're right, I don't." And I apologized to him. We ended up squashing it. We're fine now. We've gotten another heated one a few years later, squash that too. And you can forget that people look at you different because I don't feel any different, right? I'm still the same Mherex that started making videos. They suck a little bit less. I have more practice at it, but I'm scuff as they come. But it's really, and I forget this still, it's really easy to forget that some people think of you different than you are, right? You're always, to you, you're always going to be yourself, Slim. You know what I mean? You're always going to, people, I'll say this publicly right here and right now. You don't know how often I make a video and I think it's terrible and it sucks, and everyone's going to think I'm stupid. That, if you're that kind of person, that never goes away no matter how successful, this is quotation marks because I don't feel like champions is a big deal. So, but no matter how successful I have become or not become, whatever however you want to phrase it, I still worry all the time that I'm going to screw up. I still worry all the time that I'm going to mess up. I still think I put out bad videos all the time. I very rarely am like, yeah, that's a really good video, I like that video, right? And as far as like, you probably will never know the expectation. Like, what does Scopely expect from you? What am I supposed to do? And you kind of should probably figure out what works for you, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to do what like they want, like whether it's the volume of videos or quantity or type, you're going to struggle, right? And what's
It's going to
important,
come across as inauthentic, I think,
yes,
right?
yes,
It's going to not be what has made me comfortable and
yes,
because this is a hobby, right? Like this is
yes,
just a hobby. This is something I like to do.
same,
There's other stuff that comes with it. I understand that, but this is fun. I like doing this. This is fun. If I change all of that to do what I think somebody else wants me to
yeah,
do,
that won't work.
is it is that going to be fun anymore? And I don't think it's going to be fun anymore. And if this doesn't become fun anymore, well, you probably won't see very much more slim numbers because it's not fun. You
Right.
know, it, at least that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, and you'll probably go through like phases, right? Like there are times when you're more annoyed or frustrated with the game, or like you're busy in life and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you haven't posted a video for 2 days, Mherex, what's wrong?" And I'm like, dude, I'm on vacation, I'm tired, I need a slight break for 2 minutes to not think about the game," right? Because like I actually spend more time on content than I do playing the game. I spend like it's way more time making content than I do actually playing. If as far as if you don't count when I'm playing for making content. Like I play and I do a lot of my content on my own account, so actually something is getting done because I feel part of what you're saying is true. I feel so much more comfortable on my account than the CC account. I dislike using it. I just use it for previews mostly. Um, but I do have a big account to be fair. But it just feels weird and it will change. That's why part of the reason why I did this is the second go with the free to play account is because it's so easy to lose touch with the average player because you are start looking at the game. Well, I have everything. I can do all of the things, right? And then
Right.
my own personal account has gotten so big now that I have almost all the things too. So I really got out of touch with the average player, and the free to play helps ground me, right? Because not everyone has a 16 million roster with missing like 15 cards in the game. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just not realistic and has a bunch of plates and stuff. But then, because yeah, anyway, I don't want to go into that too much because this is about you. But like, just I think you have the right stuff in your head that I think you're gonna do well. And my big thing with like doing this with you is I just want to help. I'm not the nicest person, for real. I do happen to like you and think you have good content that people should watch. That's the big reason I wanted to do this with you today, is because I think you're worth watching, right? And I want people to
Well, thank
understand
you.
that. Yeah, no, it's
So are
weird.
you, by the way. You're worth watching.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Um, the thing about me, like, I don't think I've done anything this level in depth like this with any other CC ever. I don't think, but I don't have the best memory, but I don't think I have. Is I'm literally no BS. I feel like you thanking me is weird because there's nothing to thank me for. I'm literally just telling my truth. You know what I mean? Like in typical Mherex fashion, yeah, whatever. This is how I think. This is what I think, right? Like it's why I get myself into trouble so much. It's just my opinion, and I talk about it like it's fact. Like whatever, dude. Like I think I like you. I think you're good at this. I think you bring something to the table. And I think people should watch you. So if you like watching me, do me a favor, click on this guy's name. I'll put a link in the description of the video. Subscribe to him. It'll probably mean more to him than you will know. And also do me another favor. When he puts out a video, watch it, watch at least a little bit of it, and then let it play in the background too. You're gonna
Oh,
pick,
that'd be so nice. Please do
right?
that.
Yeah. I don't think, yeah. Like, even if you're like, okay, this video isn't for me, this is gonna sound weird. If you like a content creator, and you may not know this, just letting the video continue to play helps us, right? Like even if the video isn't for you, but you want to help us, that actually helps. And especially when you're starting out. Can't explain to you how much that
Oh,
helps.
it's huge. I'm not gonna spend any time on Merrick's video that he's gonna post on his channel talking about this. But if you want to, come find me on my channel or one of my streams. I'll tell you exactly why watch time is important, and I could use some for sure.
Yeah, so YouTube requires all kinds of metrics before you can like get a check mark, whatever they call it these days, affiliated partner, whatever YouTube is calling it. And one of those metrics is watch time. Another is like subscribers, views, I think videos, all of that combined. But a lot of times for people, the hardest thing is the watch time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and you might not think it's a big deal, but the being a CC and content creation can in general, and Slim and I talked about this a little off air before other times. I'll throw this out there. It takes a surprising amount of mental energy to make a video. Like and I you wouldn't think so. It seems really simple. But I can promise you if you're doing it like, and this isn't a job, but it becomes more than a hobby when you're official, because you feel like, at least, and I think you're like me, it's almost like you're accepting a job, or you have a responsibility at this point now to do a good job, right? Like to do an extra.
There's some weight to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You feel like some
Yeah. There's
kind
some
of
weight to it.
obligation or something, where before it was just, I'll make a video once a week if I want. Now you're like, well, crap, I haven't made a video for a week. I probably should do that. I haven't made a video for 3 days. I probably should do that. You feel like the bad kid in class. You can't help it. And then you also have this thing where like you only want to make videos that are good. Anyway, I could get into this too much, but long story short, is it is more emotionally taxing than one would think. And we don't get any kind of monetary compensation whatsoever from Scopely. They don't give you any cash, right? And it takes time out of our life to do it. And monetizing YouTube is one of the ways we can make a little bit, and I stress a very little bit, but it helps offset some of the time a little bit. So just allowing him to do that and get to that point is more helpful than you could possibly guess, because Slim's got kids, he's working a full-time job, just like when I started, I had kids still at home. Well, two of them are still at home, but they're graduated, and if you're spending 2 3 hours 4 hours a day on something that would essentially be the amount of time you could spend on a second job, it's nice to have at least a couple bucks to show for it, or at least pay for some of what you buy in the game. Because I bet you, Slim, you've spent more money on champions in the past 4 months since you started making more content than you did before then.
I am probably the reason why plate swapper currency is still a thing,
Yeah.
because they're like, that guy over there, that slim dude, that's the seventh time he's got it this month. This must be very popular. And I'm just sitting here trying to figure out builds for cards. Like,
Right?
I wonder if this works better. I wonder if this works. Oh, well, here's
it,
another
it
10
will
bucks.
save
All right.
you it will save you a little bit now because you'll have the CC account and you can test stuff there. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if you're like, a lot of my videos are my superstar videos, you know what I mean? Like, because I prefer to play my characters because I know they're more realistic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for anyone watching, I can't tell you how helpful that is. And even if you've been like a long time YouTuber like myself, it's always nice because like YouTube tracks average view duration, comments, also comment, like, dislike. I don't care on my own. You let me know what you think. Like, dislike, leave a comment. All of it's good. YouTube is
Interact with it.
yes. And I try to answer most stuff. Can't always. Sometimes I do miss some stuff, but for the most part, I try to answer most of it. But anyway, yeah, huge thing. Do that for Slim. For me, for Slim, that would be great. Like I said, I'm very blunt, and personally, I think he's worth the time. I think he brings a lot to the champions table, and I'll tell you right now, I was never in any way, shape, or form gonna do anything that spreadsheeted and gave you guys an exact number of damage. Like, I was never gonna figure out the exact gem damage. I was never gonna put that kind of time into it. Like I can give you fairly accurate about how hard you'll hit in boss battle most of the time. Like, you could approximately hit for this if you run this, but I was never gonna give you exact numbers. This guy will, right? And that is very useful for the community. And there are a bunch of people that really want to know exact information. So for anyone that especially likes that kind of stuff, this dude is going to be your go-to. You're going to be like, man, I love his content just for that alone. And he brings that kind of analytical approach to a lot of stuff. So definitely give him a shout. And even if it's not your style, support him, because I'll tell you right now, it's good for the game. Like his kind of content is useful content. Like, in particular, his brand, right? When he does the number stuff, it's useful and good for the game. That information being out there is something I wouldn't do because of all the time that would be involved. And the fact that he did that is great for the game. It's a huge resource, and just supporting somebody like that is a good thing to do. So that's my ultimate end plug. You can take it away, say whatever you want in closing, and then I'll do my normal outro when you're done, sir. Thank you for the time, and I'm super
No,
pumped.
thank you. Thank you for the time.
I'm super pumped you're a CC. I think you're super deserving. Like I said, I think you've been deserving for a very long time because what you bring to the table, I think, is actually a massive asset to the community. So thank you.
Well, that's been my whole goal, right? Once I kind of landed on um, what I can best do to help is let's figure it out. Scopely does an objectively terrible job at explaining how the
No,
game
they do.
works.
You're right. Not objectively. I'll flat out
Um,
say it. It's terrible.
like it's not very good, and the more we know about it, at the very least, in my head, if we show that, hey, Scopely, we care enough that a handful of us will drill down and we're going to figure out how you put this thing together, maybe eventually they'll be like, all right, fine, since you guys are out there doing it anyway, we'll open up and we'll show you a little bit more behind the scenes. We'll show you how it works. Maybe they don't. Who knows? Who cares? But in every other competitive video game that I have ever heard of, played, uh, been witness to esports, there is stuff. There are people out there that'll break down frame data, and there are people who break down damage amounts. And some of the first YouTubers that I really kind of fell in love with were like Drifter and Exclusive Ace for Call of Duty, and Xbox Ahoy. Oh my goodness, go find Xbox Ahoy. He's not Xbox Ahoy anymore. He's just Ahoy. Fantastic content creator, but he started in Call of Duty. They would tell you how much damage each bullet does. They'd tell you at exactly what distances you get all of this damage, and it was invaluable to the community. And the fact that WWE champions didn't have one meant that somebody needed to do it, and that's why I decided to do it. And that's why I have done the best that I can to the best of my ability to help provide that information. And I want other people to do the same thing and drill down, and let's open this thing up and let's get a lot better at this. Let's make the game a little bit more interactable. Let's break it down to its finer pieces. And let's really nerd out about wrestling Candy Crush. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeet.
um, that's it. That's all I got. Mherex, man, this is too much. I will never quite understand, but I will always be appreciative. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with me, and inviting me onto your channel. Um, it's the second time you've done something like this. I didn't deserve it the first time. I don't deserve it this time. I didn't deserve it the first time. Don't deserve it this time. I won't deserve it the next time. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, and you absolutely do deserve it, or I wouldn't do it because I don't waste my time. So, in typical me style, very bluntly, you deserve it. So we're just gonna end there at the outro, talking through it. Slim deserves it. Go watch his freaking stuff, or you'll annoy me. And subscribe and all of that jazz. And I'll put a link to the description in the bottom of this. And thank you guys for always hanging out. Remember to like, subscribe, and share because that helps me out. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Good luck out there.